The time is 7:35 in the evening, California. Daytime pagoda in the desert, surrounded by the peculiar silence of the Coachella Valley at dusk. The smell of dry air, the fading pink of the mountains, the hum of ceiling fans in a hall where monks, nuns, and lay people have gathered to sit and to listen, and perhaps, if the conditions are right, to awake in enlightenment. This is a Dharma talk by Master Thích Thông Lai, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk who has spent decades in the California desert building a Ayida village. This is part 3 of the Platform Sutra, centering on the life of the Sixth Patriarch Hui Neng as a model for genuine practice versus more intellectual understanding. The Master emphasized that truly seeing one's nature requires lived experience and testing under pressure, not just being able to quote Buddhist teaching, using examples from his own monastic community to illustrate the difference. He weaves in teaching on Maha Prajna Paramita, warning against both clinging to existence and clinging to emptiness, and stresses that Buddha nature is present in all beings, meaning serving others, especially the elderly and suffering. Is it itself the highest practice? The talk concludes with practical guidance on expanding the mind from self-centered action toward vast, compassionate action free of the 4 monks taught in the Diamond Sutra. Namo Sukhmani Buddha. The time now is 7:35 in the evening, California time. I am Bhikkhu Thích Thông Lai, sending greetings to all the Buddhists in the Yatang Pagoda of Indio Village, to the Buddhists across all 50 states of the United States, the Buddhists in Europe, in Australia, and to the Buddhists in Vietnam. Now, regarding our continued lecture on the Platform Sutra, you all know that the Sixth Patriarch Hui Neng was a person who could not read a single word. He was a fatherless boy who went into the forest to chop firewood and sell it to support his mother. One day, by a fortunate casual condition, he happened to overhear a customer who had brought his firewood reciting the Diamond Sutra, and became awakened upon hearing the line, "Let the mind arise without abating anywhere." So now I quiz you all. At the moment Hui Neng heard this, and he spoke with the man who brought the wood, and that man gave him 10 tassels of gold to arrange care for his mother, and then 30 days later he traveled to find Plum Blossom Monastery of the 5th Patriarch Hung Ren. At that point he had already seen his nature, or not. At the moment he set out to find the monastery, had he seen his nature? The students replied, yes. Why did you say that he has seen his nature? Students stumble. Let me clarify. To see nature means to see clearly. The reason we say he has seen his nature, I'm asking, had he yet fallen from the gate? Hadn't he even met the Patriarch yet? He had received no transmission, no opening, no introduction. He was simply traveling there. Had he seen his nature already? Student. Namo Sukhmani Buddha. Respectfully, Master, monks, nuns, and assembly. I think yes, because he was awakened upon hearing the lines, "Let the mind arise without abiding anywhere." That single line, perhaps he had seen his nature. Good. So he had seen his nature. But had he stepped through the gate? You must remember the 4 stages. Number 1, to open, reveal. 2, to point, to show out. 3, to awaken. 4, to enter, penetrate. So to open and to show is the showing. To awaken is the awakening, or seeing nature. And then one must still, to enter, must penetrate fully into Buddha's wisdom and vision. So yes, he has seen his nature. But why did you say he had obtained? Students, because hearing 2 lines of the Diamond Sutra, while one might have heard the same many times without awakening, but the Sixth Patriarch was already clear. Masters to students, online comments from disciples. Now listen, there are many online disciples who sent comments on the YouTube channel. Disciple Hui Neng writes, "Clinging to emptiness is wrong. Clinging to existence is also wrong." Well said. Has she seen her nature? She has seen, but she hasn't fallen through yet. Hien Fan writes, "While knowing one must avoid all evil and practice all good, one does not become attached to it." Has Hien Feng seen her nature? Seen, but not yet entered. Tan Mi Hung writes, "Let the mind arises without abiding." When the mind still abides, there is still arising and ceasing. When the mind does not abide, only Buddha nature remains. Yes, that's it. Has this person seen their nature? Seen but not yet entered the gate. Hien Feng continues. The Sixth Patriarch Hui Neng lived constantly with the 9 abiding mind, not abiding in love, not in hate, not in form, sound, smell, taste, or touch. Therefore, his mind was bright and pure. That beautifully said. And then she adds the famous verses. Don't keep love and hate in your heart. Stretch out both legs and sleep peacefully. That's actually a verse of the Sixth Patriarch himself, composed later after he was already teaching patriarchs. But now listen carefully. She's quoting the patriarch's words. She's not yet living them. The Sixth Patriarch was never angered when the Fifth Patriarch insulted him in front of the assembly. He simply followed the master's instruction, went to the kitchen to break the rice hull. Let me give you an example. I'm just speaking hypothetically now. Imagine an old man who has stepped through Ayida village gate, still confused and suspicious. They say, "Master, please give me a ritual prayer paper. I heard you have a special ceremony that makes money flow in like the river Ganges and drip out like coffee through a filter." This kind of person heard the rumor online, drove all the way here from way down south, Santa Ana, walked in Sister Yu Kai's, who asked, "What do you need?" And they say, "I need that special ceremony to make my nail salon get more customers." Now, I, as the Dharma teacher, only need to say one thing. You should focus on practicing Dharma, yet you're still full of greed. Are you angry now? Have you seen your nature? It's clear right away. That kind of person came here, still mirrored in superstition. So I just say plainly, you're still superstitious at your age. When you die, you can't take any of it with you. That's direct pointing. The Buddha had a golden palace and gave it all up. You walk in here begging for ghost and demon trinkets. Will they be happy or angry? Angry. They stormed out. You see, whether someone has seen their nature is revealed right there. Now comparing yourself to the Sixth Patriarch. Now I'm going to test some of you. Let's just jot down the ones who responded so beautifully tonight. If one day, if I scold Hui Neng suddenly, would she be angry? Regarding Tan Mi Hong, what if one day he comes up here and I curse him out and hit him with the stick? Will he be angry? You see, you all spoke so beautifully. The Sixth Patriarch did not abide in love or hate, but those are someone else's words. The Sixth Patriarch could see his nature because he heard that line and it landed. The Sixth Patriarch was a filial son. That's why he chopped firewood for his mother. And the man who brought his wood said, I've recited this sutra for decades and never awakened. You can't even read, and yet from one line, abiding nowhere, you understood. You have wonderful roots. Some people walk into the temple, and one sentence from me is enough. They understand. Let go and arrange their affairs to enter. Others come beg and plead to be let in. And once they're inside, they grumble that I'm being too hard on them. They thought it was easy. There are others, when they came in claiming illness, they were promised medical care. But now they hear we won't take them to the doctor, but every little thing, so they want to disrobe. This is how thick the vial of ignorance is. There are also monks here who never admits a fault. There are nuns who take praise but never criticize. Even at the bi-weekly Upsata confession ceremony, when asked, what faults have I committed in the past 14 days? Please point them out. If anyone actually points one out, they get angry. Plenty of that around here, isn't there? Master now speaks directly to the young monk, Tiu Han. Now, Tui Han, your Dharma teacher, has been listening. People tell me Tui Han chants mantras well, practices well, but the problem is when something needs to be said, he won't speak. When something shouldn't be said, he also won't speak. Son, if you keep going down this road, you'll end up like your Dharma brother, Tui Min, who did everything according to his own opinion, never accumulating real merit, and his life was wasted. Whatever he came back here, he barely said a word in the assembly. Silent at the meals, silent in the kitchen, closed off, sullen, withdrawn. That doesn't work. I know why you asked the other day to go learn a trade in Florida. You said Brother Tui Lu wasn't right. Then I asked Tui Lu. He said he never said any such thing. I said, fine. If he sees the village needs people, and he stays. That's good. Then yesterday you were assigned to drive the elderlies to medical appointments. Today, Sister Yu home to the doctor was a real test. I know that, because driving someone to the doctor is no joke. When she fell 3 months ago, even the ambulance took us forever to get in. Now you took her out in your 15-passenger van. She fell again, and Toi Han sat with her from morning until 7 p.m. That's 10 hours straight. Brutal, isn't it? Now, when you take someone like Sister Yu, who knows English, as you all know, she's a retired professor. She doesn't need you sitting beside her. Just give the emergency room your phone number. Just give her the emergency phone number. Let them call when she's done. But for those who doesn't speak English, you must stay. Now, comparing yourself to the Sixth Patriarch. Now I'm going to test some of you. Let me jot down the ones who responded so beautifully tonight. From one day, if I scold Yu Dong suddenly, would she be angry? Regarding Tan Mi Hong, what if one day he wakes up and I curse him out and I hit him with a stick? Will he be angry? Now this morning while I was eating, the new chairman, Tien Hoi, and brother Kit came up and said, Master Tu Han wants to travel with brother Long through Arizona over to Florida. In my heart, I thought, doesn't he know what's important and what's not? From here to Florida by car, even taking it easy, that's 4 days each way, plus over 10 days there. And meanwhile, here in our care, Yu Sun's father is dying in our hospital room. There is a funeral preparation across the hall. The man in Arizona who refuses to come back to the village has died, and we still need to do his services. Hong An is going over there for training powwow and cremation rites under my teaching. Hong Liu must accompany her in case she can't manage alone. Hong Duk must travel to California City, where brother Tu Sun is waiting. There's 3 people gone. So Tu Han is needed right here. With Tu Sun returning to handle paperwork and Yu Sun's father about to pass, the work is enormous, and he wants to go on a road trip. I remember Hong Kim when she was here, like a 1 to 2 punch. She came up, bowed, and said, Master, please assign me and Toi Han to live up at Mountaintop Pagoda in California City. Was she asking that right? So now, should I appoint the 2 of you, mother and son, as avatars up in the Mountaintop Pagoda? Tu Han sees brother Tu Long getting to be an avatar and refusing the post, so he feels left behind. No, Tu Han has so much more to learn. Tu Han is only 21 years old. You think learning a trade like air conditioning, heating, and cooling work I taught brother Tu Duk is easy because I made it look easy? I've been doing it for decades. If any of you walk out tomorrow with a toolbox, you'll see it's not simple. So the matter is this. I want to train Tu Han. He needs time to be tempered. Truthfully, if I sent him to live up at the Mountaintop Pagoda, I could send him today, and Sister Hamduk was staying here to handle things. You don't need to go up there. At the mountaintop, you learn nothing. Why? Because there's no one to bump up against you. Mother and son together just curl up in mutual love. friction, no challenge. Here in the community there is friction. That's how you learn. Out of love for him, I want him here. He's the youngest one. Tuduk will eventually pass away. She's already 20 years old. You know that Tuduk, almost certainly the older monks will pass before him. So Tuhun is the future pioneer of this village. That's what he must learn deeply. To be a pioneer of this village, he must be here, close to the assembly, serving all sentient beings, accumulating merit. Remember that exactly. You must accumulate merit, not just seeing Brother Lam going somewhere and want to go with him. I'm clearly speaking. Last year, his mother asked to go up. I let her. When she got there, she couldn't really do anything. It became like a private retreat. That's the lesser vehicle. Hinaya, no contact with sentient beings. Then when problem arises, can she come back to handle them? No. Without the friction of the community, the ego stays fully intact. That is why the fifth patriarch tested Hui Neng. The fifth patriarch, already established, sat at the high seat. Hui Neng walked in, and the patriarch, already inside the gate himself, said, "What is this country bumpkin doing coming here, praying for the dead, seeking blessing? Speak." He scolded him in front of everyone, saying his Mandarin wasn't even proper, and that he was from the southern Barbadian region, raised among savages. And Hui Neng replied with the famous line, "My body and master bodies have highs and lows, but Buddhist natures has no high and low. It is equal." That's the moment we know he had already entered the gate. If he hadn't, he would have stormed out. Try walking in here asking for a ritual paper, getting cursed at for being a country bumpkin. Would you stay? Or sit down to pound rice for 8 months without a word from the master? Would you stay? 3 days and you'll quit. And if I made you carry stones too? You all get angry over the slightest things. She brushed past me wrong, and you call yourself practitioners? Compare yourselves to the sixth patriarch. How many kilos do you weigh against him? 8 months not allowed onto the main hall. The patriarch never spoke to him. That was the test. A person who has truly entered the gate doesn't get stuck on these things. So he pounded rice down below, and that itself was his Dharma hall. Now in our village at noon today, Chu Kwan and his wife came knocking. They bowed and presented me with fresh grapes and said, "Master, we finished monastic life. We find monastic life too hard. We thought we had illnesses. Sister Humduk and the others would take us to the doctor. Now we hear she won't take everyone to their appointment. We want to disrobe." I told them, "Sister Humduk, I am not blaming you, but the truth is, Tu Kwan thought practicing Dharma meant he would enjoy it. So he asked to disrobe. Fine, granted. After tonight's session, I'll release his vows and he can go back to lay practice. From now on, I will no longer pressure anyone to ordain. Remember this clearly. From now on, no more pressure. Only those with great roots and great wisdom, who have sufficient casual conditions, who hear the call once and knows, those will ordain. The exception is the case of Brother Tuyen's nephew, only because his parents won't permit it. The Buddhist law requires parental consent, but he himself wanted to practice. I'll tell you the truth. Most who reincarnate back here are orphans in some way. That's why they can't ordain. Without losing a parent, it's hard to leave the world. One must lose father or mother first. Only then, through suffering, can they renounce. Look at Hui Neng. He ordained because his father died. He has good seeds. I can see it. So, Hui Neng, listen. When you work in assembly, if you cling to people's word, you're stuck. And if when something happens, you neither speak rightly or wrongly, the path leads straight to becoming Brother Tui Min's wasting your life. Last year, Sister Hong Kim came and asked to bring her and Hui Neng to live up at the mountaintop hermitage. I said, no, not yet. Try harder. A person's like Brother Tucson, it's easy to live where he lives. It's not easy to live where he lives. Alone on a mountain in the desert. He's the type with we can live in solitary by nature. You can't do it. It's lonely up there. More difficult than it appears. I know at the time that Sister Hong Kim and her son wasn't really seeking abattoir. They were just afraid of conflict with the larger assembly here. Sister Hong Kim, now I just saw no one was up there and offered to help. I was asking to be the resident. How about that? I thought there was no air conditioning up there. In this kind of summer heat, you can't sleep until 1 or 2 a.m. You don't know, for months in the summer, that's just how it is. The mornings are slightly cold, so I don't even chant until 8 a.m. Nights, 1 or 2. We want to cling to sleep. We want to sleep, but we can't because it's very hot. Student, I let Brother Tucson stay up there because she was not afraid of being among lions here. Oh, so you're not afraid of the loneliness, meaning the senior nuns? The lioness, you mean the senior nuns. I thought maybe mother and son were intimidated. Some of these senior nuns have sharp claws. Compare yourself to the Sixth Patriarch. Aren't you ashamed? He walked in, was viciously cursed, then for 8 months had to carry stones and pound rice without complaint. Letting someone stand at the gate that long, only then is one fit to be a patriarch, fit to become an art hat. You are full of words. You can't quote everything beautifully. But these are someone else's words, not yours. You can recite, but it's tested by life. You fall short. You know and yet still violate. That is how to grow fur and horns, meaning be reborn as animals. So I speak out of love. Look at you, son's father. Years ago, he was healthy. We offered to let him live in the village. He went back to Vietnam. Yet now he has passed away in Vietnam. How could that compare to passing here? We have no rooms left, all occupied. But out of compassion, when I went there, I knew he was about to die. I told his grandchild, at any cost, get your grandfather over here. They said, but he's in Vietnam 10 months ago already. No Medicare, nothing. Would the Americans even let him through? In normal circumstances, never. They'll reject him as a burden. But somehow, alone, this frail-faced man got on the plane. The other relatives wouldn't dare. They turned back. He came over by himself. Now he lays here peacefully ready to go. This is purely compassion, nothing more. You see, those with light karma understand immediately when we teach them. Those with heavy karma, the veil of ignorance is so thick they can't see, and they think we're being hard on them. For me, ordaining people, Sister Hong Tian here understands. I've been very accommodating, very flexible. Yes, my purpose was to use everything, strict discipline, gentle persuasion, anything, to get students to practice. But starting today, I'm being completely clear. Because I am getting older, before long I must enter the cycle of life, birth and death. Each man is permitted 7 ordination. Recently, when Dr. Tae-sun asked to disrobe and leave, I released him immediately. But he has 6 left, and those will have to be elsewhere. This lineage will not accept him back. The same applies to all of you. Affinity ordination, that's fine. You can do that for 1 or 2 weeks, a month, a year. You can leave and come back. I'll accept you. But once you have taken the name with the symbol Tui or Hong, the formal lineage name, and then leave, I will not accept you back in that rank later. I'll only re-accept you for affinity ordination. That is the lineage of most vulnerable Hui Tan, traced from the Sixth Patriarch Hui Neng all the way to Bhiksumani Master Yet Ma Tianiam. I cannot be careless with it. To become human is rare. To be born as a Buddhist monk, to encounter authentic Dharma practice religiously, those chances don't come twice. If you waste this one, you have no second chance. Now we move to chapter 2, Parna. The great General Wei, a first-rank official equivalent to a prime minister, together with the assembly, invited the Sixth Patriarch to teach. The Patriarch took his seat and said, "All of you must purify your mind and recite Maha Prajna Paramita." Then he said, "Good spiritual friends, the great wisdom of Bodhi is something every person possesses. Only because the mind is deluded do we fail to recognize it. We must rely on a great spiritual friend to pour it to us. You who haven't yet seen your nature, when you encourage others to be vegetarian, to recite Buddha's name, to ordain, to give generosity, you are called a spiritual friend. But one who sees his own nature, certified by a patriarch like the Sixth Patriarch Hui Neng, who received the robe and bowl from the Fifth Patriarch, that is a great spiritual friend. So when you are young and named with Hung, you go around encouraging people to ordain and so on. You are just spiritual friends. Understand? Foolish people and wise people both have Buddha's name. The Buddha name of the foolish and the wise is the same. Only delusion versus awakening different. That is why there are fool and wise. Today I speak Dharma to you, good spiritual friends, expounding Maha Prajna Paramita, that you may obtain wisdom. Listen with full sincerity. There are people who all day long recite prana with their mouth, yet do not know their own self-nature prana. Like saying eat, but never eating. There are people who all day open their mouth to say, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. But the moment something happens, they cling right on it tightly. Saying you eat without eating, you can never be full. If one only recites with the mouth and does not practice in the heart, one after 100,000 kalapas cannot see one's nature. One will continue the cycle of birth and death. What Maha Prajna Paramita means Maha, vast. Prajna, wisdom. Paramita, crossing to the other shore. This shore, the ordinary, deluded. The other shore, enlightenment. Practice must be of the heart, not just of the mouth. Some people chant mantras all day and recite sutras their whole life. Great precepts, but only with mouth and body, not with heart. Of what use? Take my own recent illness, the facial palsy. I always teach to practice to reclaim the rights to be your own master. Yet that day I didn't reclaim it. Today my mouth was still crook, so I couldn't lecture. Speech and contact were not in harmony. What matters is speaking and doing must align. The origin nature is Buddha. You are already Buddhas, but you don't recognize it. If you recognize your Buddha nature and live in it, every word would be Buddha's word. And any word spoken with greed, anger, or delusion, that is the demon's words. You walk with a Buddha on one side, and on the other side is the demon. Which one have you been using all this time? The demon. When good thoughts arises, they fade away quickly. But evil thoughts, laziness, irritation, those grow stronger by the day. Bad things are easier to learn than good things. A drinker easily teaches a beginner, and the student often surpasses the teacher in drinking. But in the Dharma, students rarely surpasses the teacher. Painful, isn't it? Original nature is Buddha. Do not seek outside. Original nature is Buddha. Buddha is original nature. Apart from your original nature, there is no other Buddha. You can pray to Sukmani Buddha, but he Sukmani Buddha. You can pray to Ayi, but he's Ayida. If Amitabha takes you to the Pure Land, he cannot give you his own Buddhahood. He can only guide you up there with the lower, middle, and upper grades. And once you reach the upper grade, you must still return to repay your old karma. Maha, the vast mind. Maha means vast, expansive, a mind as vast as space, with no boundaries, no shape, no color, no above, no below, no anger or joy. No right or wrong, no good or evil, no beginning or end. All Buddha lands are like empty spaces. The official asked, Master, how does one practice Maha? The Patriarch replied, You're a first-ranked official. How did you become rich? Not from your salary. You must have a corrupt, selfless mind, taking public property for private use. Now go home, practice until you have no more wealth in your prime minister's mansion. Then, well, only then, your mind be vast. For us simpler, when you come from the world into monastic life, your mind is small and narrow. The longer you practice, the more your mind expands. That is Maha. But if you came in with a wide mind and grow more selfishness every day, you've gone wrong. I want to tell you an example of Maha. When Thich Hui first came here as a chairman, he had a room. When Sister Liu came needing a room, did he give her his? No, that's a small mind. If he gave up his to her, let her keep it for a year, Okay, if next year he keeps giving it, that's fast. But if next year he comes taking it back and says, here's my toilet, don't flush. Some appliances needs replacing. My air conditioning is broke, fix it. That's small and selfish. Wait a year and you will see whose mind is vast and whose mind is petty. Another example, rooms in the village. When you first arrive, you fight over big rooms, small rooms. After Sister Homduk finished building the new small rooms, the one truly expanding heart yields the big room and takes the small room. The vastness, but if you become comfortable in a good room and refuse to switch, selfishness. Maha means vast, immeasurable. A mind without limit, without color or shape, without anger or joy, without good or evil. Buddha's lands are like empty spaces. Human nature is fundamentally empty, clinging to nothing. The government official then asked the Sixth Patriarch, Master, how do we know how monk has truly seen his nature? Look at how he practices. A monk who builds a temple where his own quarters are bigger than his disciple, who fills it with his own relatives, who makes others serve him, whose ego grows year by year, that is a small mind. A monk who year by year releases ego, that is a vast mind. I want you to warn you, don't cling to emptiness. Good spiritual friends do not hear me speak of emptiness and then cling to nothing, to emptiness. The most important thing is to not cling to emptiness. For if you sit in meditation with an empty mind, you fall into blank emptiness. A funny story. 10 years ago, when I taught the Platform Sutra at the head temple, a Buddhist laywoman came up to me and said, Master, examine my realization, she said. Master, I used to doubt my paternal grandchildren, but lately I see that I love them more than my maternal grandchildren. And I dislike the ones who like my daughter-in-law, whom I never warned to, whom I favor the one who looks like my son, so I clung to existence. After hearing my son on abating nowhere, she came to demonstrate her understanding. My grandchildren were fighting. The parental one took a chopstick and struck it at the maternal one's nose. The maternal one stuck a chopstick in the paternal one's ear. They were both were lying, more crying, and my mind was unmoved, like Mount Sharumu. Then their mothers called the police on me. That's clinging to emptiness. Before she clinged to existence, favoring grandchildren, now she clings to emptiness, indifferent. That's why the Sixth Patriarch warned, do not hear emptiness and be attached to emptiness. Another story, the monk who sat 10 hours a day. One day, when the Sixth Patriarch gave Dharma teaching, in the assembly, 1,000 monks was present. One monk raised his hand. Venerable, every day I sit in meditation for 10 hours, fixing my mind on stillness. What fruit will I attain? The Patriarch replied, fixing the mind on stillness is a sickness. Why? Because fixing is a form of abiding, contraindicating abiding nowhere. And contemplating stillness means he likes the clean and dislikes the dirty. That's still the mind of an ordinary being. He cannot pass through the gate. Sitting and not laying down and not sitting, these are mere actions of a corpse. What merit or fault is in them? You're not a Buddha because you sit. If you were frogs, you would be Buddhas. Sit all day. And if you were enlightened by laying down, lizards would be Buddhas. You're still just sentient beings. The fifth patriarch warned to Hui Neng, for sentient beings plant the seed, for non-sentient beings do not. Do not transmit Dharma to those who have killed off their feelings. If you sit in the blank emptiness, you may be stubborn. You may be reborn as a jellyfish and live in the sea with no consequences. A wood-borne grub hatching into a tree, eating endlessly without awareness. Or if you spent your life on the Lotus Sutra without practice, a termite reborn inside the Lotus Sutra, eating the pages without understanding a single word. Self-nature contains all phenomena. In empty spaces are all forms: sun, moon, stars, mountains, river, plants, forests, good people, good Dharma, evil Dharma, heaven, hell, ocean, sea, Mount Surmi, all are within spaces. And your Buddha nature contains them all, even hell, hungry ghosts, animals. Look around. This carpet, this table, this glass, this light bulb, the electricity, even AI, all came from someone's mind. All the universe is contained in this mind. Application: be vast like a master. When Tui Han spread his loving care all over the elderly woman here equally, like Hom Kim does, vast mind. If he selects only the one he prefers, small mind. A monk asked, I'm a new habitat, not enlightened, no spiritual powers. How can I encompass all phenomena? The patriarch said, you don't need to encompass the heavens, just encompass all the monks of your lineage. I cannot encompass the entire universe, but I must encompass all the display of my lineage. That is already vast. A monk wants to go to the Western Pure Lands. A monk raised his hand. I want to go to the Western Pure Land to serve all the Buddhas. The patriarch said, don't go far. There are plenty of Buddhas right here in your monastery. This temple has Buddhas, doesn't it? These Buddhas just happen to be confused right now. That's why they need you all. If they were already awakened, they wouldn't need us. We're just slightly ahead in waking up. And that's why we sit here. When Tu Han drives Sister Yu Hong to the doctor, he could think, I was just driving an old woman with no husband or children, small. Or he could think, in her are the three bodies of Buddha. Her physical body is aged, frail. But her Dharmaka and her Buddha nature are present, vast. Today I drove this Buddha to her appointment. The merit is greater in driving Sikmuni Buddha. Why? Because Sikmuni Buddha has spiritual powers. He doesn't need a ride. Sister Yu Hong Buddha doesn't have spiritual powers yet, so she needs the ride. Plus, Sikmuni gave up his palace and gold, but Sister Yu Hong has lots of gold. Maybe this Buddha has moved and leave us her inheritance. The true way to recite the Lotus Sutra. All phenomena are within Buddha's nature. If you see all people, wicked and good, as Buddhas, you are already reciting the Lotus Sutra. Why need to recite the always respected Bhiktu chapter separately? A monk raised his hand. How many times of this sutra have I recited? Throw it out. If you see good people and wicked people and respect them all as future Buddhas, that itself is the practice. So today when Tu Han sat for 10 hours watching everyone come and go, that was him reciting the Lotus Sutra for 10 hours. I do not dare to slight you, or you will become Buddha. She asked, when? When she clears the trash from her house? The day Sister Yu Hong announced, let everything go, Master, please. Send people in and clear up my trash. That's the day she sees her nature. But if she keeps shopping you, wait, I hid money in that pile of trash. $1 million buried in trash. That's how it is. Hierarchy of the merit in caring for others. Caring for Mrs. Few, considered lowest level, no benefits to others, small merit. Caring for someone slightly higher, like the sister of Sister Liu Ngu, slightly more. Caring for someone like Liu Ngu's husband, who cites mantras, more, and so on, climbing up. But the greatest merit is when you care for someone, seeing them as a Buddha, vast mind. When you give a beggar $5, that's giving. But say, honored sir, I do not slight you. You have Buddha's nature. Please respect my offering of $5 to Buddha. Enormous merit, because you recognize his Buddha's nature in him. If you say, take this $5, but don't buy beer, small merit. Ordinary recitation versus true practice. Confused people speak with the mouth. Wise people practice with the heart. There are those who claim everything, talk eloquently, but when actually doing work, they hide. Confused people in empty meditation, thinking of nothing, saying, I want to do nothing in this temple, only to be reborn in pure land. Such people fall into wrong views. They incur the debt of accepting offerings without earning them. The Great Vow. Today I, Hui Neng, declare the vast mind permeates all Dharma realms. When applied, it knows all. All is one, one is all. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Buddha is sentient being. Sentient beings are Buddha. If there were no sentient beings, no Buddhas would appear in this world. When the mind opens, all faults disappear. When you open your vast mind, all the faults of the assembly disappears. As long as you cling to right and wrong, good and bad, there is suffering. When you see good and bad as all Buddhas, there is no affliction. Living at home versus living in the temple. If you have opened your heart, you can practice at home, being broad-hearted with your son and children, and at the temple, broad-hearted with the assembly. But practicing at home is harder than at the temple. Why? Because at home, the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. Too tired. Snooze 15 minutes. Snooze 30 minutes. Let's just pray a half rosemary instead of a full one. I think my boyfriend wants to meet me today. My face is looking pale from too much vegetarian food. Let me sleep another hour. At the temple, you cannot slack off. You must get up. You must go. Once you're an appetite, you can't slack either. You can't slow down. It's like a freight train. You're the engine pulling everyone behind you. Once one decibel becomes 2, 3, 400, you cannot stop. The carriages keeps come pushing. So whether you become an appetite or remain a regular monk in the assembly, you cannot slack. Inside the assembly, the Sangha is preserved. Alone, the Sangha dissolves. A tangent to Yuan, a decibel considering marriage. Now look at the most beautiful love story among us. Sweetly teasing Yuan. Yuan is climbing up to the heavenly realms. I'm completely relaxed about it. Whatever you want to do, you do. What does it matter to me as long as you're happy? You're 73 now. Take a 10-year window. If at 83 you're still in love, take another 10 year. At 93, still in love, 103, then I have to live until 103 just to see if you're still in it. If you keep loving, I keep living. you stop loving, I have to die. Yuan, I'll go test it out, Master. I'm afraid you won't make it to Aida village. The day he kicked you out, yes. However, there will always be a place for you to come home to. She says, he kicked me out. Am I locked out forever? No. Just like Lynn's husband. When he's buried in 20 credit card debts at 27% interest, drowning, and lent her money to pay off, so the interest stops. Then she came into practice. Sing with me. Go think it through. But promise me the day he throws you out, don't make me send people to find you. Yuan, no need, Master. I'll run straight back. By then, you'll be able to break the door down. Returning to the sutra, beyond both shores, all prajna comes from Buddha's nature, not from outside. Use it without conceit. That is true self. Once one is true, all are true. A person's whose heart has open practices, vastness with family at home and with assemblies at the temple. Don't be like the beggar who calls himself king. Don't recite with the mouth without practicing in the heart, like a beggar calling himself a king. Useless. Such a person is not the Buddha disciple, not mine. Why? Paramita. Crossing to the shore, crossing to the other shore. This shore, ordinary being, hell, hungry ghosts, animals. Other shore, arhats, bodhisattvas, Buddhas. Paramita, crossing to the other shore, leaving birth and death. This shore is birth and death, like waves rising and falling on water. A monk asked, Master, are you on this shore or the other shore? The patriarch said, I am on neither. Wherever I am is the other shore. Wherever he was, it was a Dharma hall. The four great vows. Sentient beings are boundless. I vow to liberate them. Afflictions are inexhaustible. I vow extinguish them. Dharma gates are measurable. I vow to learn them. The unsurpassed Buddha way, I vow to attain. You all chant these, but hold a grudge against this person and that person. What about afflictions are exhaustible? I vow to extinguish. When are afflictions extinguished? Only when you shave your head and the head stops growing back. When you cut your nails and they stop growing, that is only at death. So sentient beings are boundless. Afflictions inexhaustible. They are vows for endless practice, and actually without afflictions we cannot practice. Once we cross out of the sea of affliction, then we can help others cross. My steerness for you, monks and nuns, when angry, only allow yourself 24 hours. By 25 hours, it's done. The next day, gone. Monastics are always to be angry with one another, but with a 24-hour limit. Worldly people may carry grudge to the grave. We cannot. Then gradually shorten it to 12 hours, 6, 1 hour, 5 minutes, eventually to no anger at all. That is stepping through the gate. Listen well, ordinary beings are Buddhas, afflictions are Bodhi. If you don't have a Buddha already in your heart, no amount of practice will make you a Buddha. You already are Buddhas. You just have Buddha's nature. How do I know Buddha's nature is unborn or undying? Simple. If Buddha's nature was born and dead with the body, then once a person dies, that's the end. But for hundreds of millions of years, humans have continued. Because Buddha nature is unborn, undying. Because the Allah unconsciousness continues. We keep being reborn. If Buddha's nature was impermanent, Sukmani Buddha couldn't return again and again. The Adalahala Lama couldn't return 14 times. None of us would return. So why you, son's father, walk into the dining room here? He ends the karma he sowed to his life. He's preparing for the next. If life's lifespan is karmic, he was born in 1953, year of the water snake. Now he's 73, 74. His lifespan is up. Someone in a past life who never killed but always released animal can live up to 120. Like most vulnerable, Hong Ban, Triple Lam Tan 2, over 100 years old. Some dies in their teens by chromatic merit, not by accident. Buddha's nature is unborn, undying. That's why it's being continued. The mind that suffers, and the other, and the two stories. The thought before confused is an ordinary being. Thought after awakened is a Buddha. The thought clinging to phenomenon, affliction. The thought released from phenomenon, Bodhi. Story number 1. The man who married a young wife. Let me tell you a story. A man who is almost 50. He never married. He went back to Vietnam, and then he was introduced to a beautiful 20-year-old. He married her. She came over here to the U.S., but suddenly his father-in-law had a stroke. His mother-in-law had a stroke. 5 or 6 in-laws to support his pregnant wife. Now he must spend $2,000 a month to send to Vietnam for treatment. He thought, why was I so foolish at my age marrying such a young girl? And my own parents I can no longer have to honor with money. Working felt like hell. He came to me. I said, affliction is Bodhi. You see only this one life. Your parents. And now your parent-in-laws are also your parents. Your wife, also yours. Open your vast heart. Whatever you do, see it as merit-making. After he changed his mind, he started spending $1,000 happily, voluntarily. Whereas before, when his wife asked $2,000, he would secretly check the wire transfer agency to make sure she wasn't sending extra. Now completely free. Story 2. The filial son whose parents died. Another man, extremely filial, after his parents passed, he wanted to ordain. He was making $70,000 to $80,000 a year on a contract work, but had no reason to keep it. Without parents to send money to, work felt empty. I said, then come ordain. He said, let me sell my house first. But the house market was bad. 6 months later, he came back. Master, I'm suffering. No purpose at all. Used to work for parents. Wife and kids are left me. Anyways, because I was so devoted to my parents. No parents, no wife, no purpose. I told him, then ordain. Money no longer means anything to you. He continued working through the yearly end charity season. Then one day, he met a single mother with 3 children at a temple. He called, Master, I promised to ordain next month, but my karma is too heavy. Now I have a purpose again. I said, what? You said you had no purpose, and now you do? Yes, Master, purpose to work. I'm sponsoring her and her 3 children to come over. And my wife is pregnant. He took all of her 3 kids, plus an unborn one. Then he saw the suffering of the family, took responsibility. Master, before I complain of no purpose, now I beg you, give me purpose. And I said, that's the mind. You're thinking, you're working, and you're saving the entire family. That's merit. Same as ordaining. Here you serve sentient beings, same purpose. All suffering is caused by thinking. It's a beautiful girl. If a beautiful girl asks you to do something, joy. If an ugly girl asks you to do the same thing, suffering. Same task, different mind. Changing the mind, ending the suffering. Another couple example, Dukk's family. A couple here came up. The husband had been beaten down by life, but lifted his heart and now endures whatever comes. Once he endured his test. Even a gun he tried to shoot fired backwards. That tests him over and over. Once going to volunteer work, his car broke down. His roof leaked. Endless tasks, like Hui Neng being tested for 8 months. But he's persisted and now he's free. The Diamond Sutra and the Four Monks. People of dull capacity will not believe this sutra. The Buddha said, a person who can sit and listen to the Diamond Sutra without being bored, like you all are doing now, destroy all karmatic seed from hell, hungry ghosts and seeds. The monk asked, I also recite the Diamond Sutra. Am I a disciple of Shenzhou who sent me to spy on you? Why am I being scolded by the world? The Patriarch replied, because you recited the Diamond Sutra under the 5th Patriarch, you would have otherwise grown fur and horns, be reborn as an animal. You were merely scolded instead. Heavy karma converted to light. So sitting here listening to the Diamond Sutra and the Platform Sutra, you have practiced for innumerable kalpas. For teachers today, expound these. Look at YouTube's. Our Dharma talks gets thousands. Some random guys from the countryside who can't even tell which Buddha is which gets hundreds of thousands. Sentient beings are not easy listeners of Mahanya. Brother Tiandat, you have changed greatly since attending the retreat. Hasn't he? When he sent that offering, I knew. When he went to attend the Master Dharma's retreat, his view changed entirely. So reciting the Diamond Sutra out loud is good, but practicing is what counts. From now on, anyone who has heard the Diamond Sutra here has merit, but you must practice it when you go out. When an old woman asks you to do something, don't do it for her. Do it for the Buddha within her. Doing things for me, you think you accumulate merit. But doing things for the elderly here is greater merit than doing things for me. So when there's money, there are people with greedy hearts who like to come in and do small things like cutting nails to earn favor. Next time, take the basin, go wash the elderly woman's feet, wash their car. That is the open heart. Hierarchy of hearers of the Diamond Sutra. As rain falls on earth, hamlets, village floods, like leaves washed away. But if rain falls on the great ocean, the sea never increases nor decreases. For a Mahayana or supreme vehicle person, hearing the Diamond Sutra opens the mind to awakening. A person of Mahayana capacity, hearing this sutra, stops distinguishing sentient beings from Buddhas, sees all as equal. The merit is unimaginable. The Buddha said, one who 500 years after the Buddha's passing hears the Diamond Sutra and does not slander but believes the merit as much as being offered 100,000 Buddhas. 1,000 years after, like has made offerings to 1 billion Buddhas. 2,000 years after, it's like the merit has made offerings to immeasurable Buddhas. So, you here in this declining Dharma age, you are not small. Even the new visitor who happened to drop by tonight have Mahana seeds. Even Yuan, she's no novice. She's been practicing many lifetimes. That's why she certainly returns. Whether she's saved or not, that depends. but her seeds are not small. The 4 marks and the 10 hours of service. The Diamond Sutra's key teaching. Freedom from 4 marks. Number 1, mark of self. Number 2, mark of others. Number 3, mark of sentient beings. Number 4, mark of lifespan. If Tu Hun drives Sister Yu home thinking, I, Tu Hun, am driving, mark of self. If he thinks, I am driving her, mark of others. If he thinks, this troublesome sentient beings, that is a mark of sentient beings. If he thinks, I served exactly 7 days, now I am done, mark of a lifespan. But the Diamond Sutra reader says, I, that's not real. Tu Hun, form, sensation, perception, mental formation, consciousness, none of it is truly me. Others, also empty. The same with sentient beings, lifespan. 4, free of all 4 marks, true prajna practice. 1 is a Buddha. The practical ladder. Whether you do something, I do this for myself, small. I do this for the master, slightly better. I do this for the sentient beings, better. I do this for Buddhas, within these elderly women, vast. From this attachment to lifespan, we generate either merit or sin. Ordinary people hear and loses faith. People of dull capacity hears this sutra will not believe it. But the Buddha said, anyone who hears it without slandering has already made offerings to 100,000 Buddhas. Final closure. Warning about false visitors. The Sixth Patriarch wouldn't have a problem teaching deeply, but with our current security, warning to Brother Tinium when those Middle Eastern guys who scammed elderlies come in claiming they want to harm Dharma, do not open the door. That kind of non-clinging gets killed. They'll come in, rob the old woman, slip charms, don't fall for it. Open doors for genuine practitioners. Don't open doors for thieves. We dedicate all this merit to all disciples and sentient beings. May all obtain the Buddha way. Sentient beings are boundless. I vow to liberate them. Afflictions are inexhaustible. I vow to extinguish them. Dharma gates are immeasurable. I vow to learn them. The unsurpassed Buddha way, I vow to attain. We meet again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., and tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. for another Dharma talk. Namo Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật.